And just like that, we are now at the penultimate episode of Kamen Rider Gatchard, episode 49. It's been a long time. It's been a year. It's been a journey. It's been a story. How is the story gonna start wrapping up? First things first, we gotta check in with our boy Hotaro and the little alchemy crew. They are just running around trying to keep the peace, finding any returning amalgams as best they can. They beat one, and surrounding them is now an angry mob, angrily going, "Yo, Kimmys are the fault for all this. Fuck them. Destroy them. Destroy alchemists." And they're like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa! Hold on, hold on. That's extreme." When the dinosaur father and daughter come in and go like, "No, Kimmys were cool. They did so. We had our character arcs." Kachiki and the girl from the theater arc come back and go like, "Hey, yeah, no, Kimmys are cool." And that's when the influencer guy comes in and just stokes the fire, gives them what they want, says, "No, we gotta be angry." And to start chasing them, the alchemy crew tries to get away. They do for a moment when they go like, "Hey, wait a second. Hotaro, how's your mom?" And he's like, "Oh shit, I hadn't thought about that. They might go after my mom. I need to go check." And they're like, "Hey, we're safe here. Go check on your mom." He goes, and the restaurant's dark. No one's there. He's like, "Oh shit, what happened? Mom? Mom?" And that's when he sees Grayon. And Grayon just goes into him. Goes to town of just like, "No, humanity's fucked. They're only greedy. All they want is gold. I'm giving them exactly what they want. Fuck this putrid." It like goes full Mr. Smith from Matrix on Hotaro. Just cruel and unusual. Hotaro was worried that Grayon, hurt his mom, and he's like, if you did anything," and that's when his mom walks in, and he's like, "Oh god." He was worried that something happened to his mom. Now he's worried something will happen to his mom. And Grayon plays it off like the smug bastard he is, and just goes like, "No, your son's done a lot for me," and he leaves. And as soon as he's out of sight, Hotaro basically, I wouldn't say collapse, but he's not in a great place. He basically goes like, "Mom, lock up everything, stay safe. I will explain everything when this is done. I can't right now, but I need you to be safe." And she's like, "Oh, okay, I'll do that." And the next time we see Hotaro, it'll be catching up to the other plot of this episode, which is Spanner wakes up and is like, "All right, gotta do what I always do, which is kind of rebuild myself." And he starts working on his driver, trying to fix it. But it's not going well. He's essentially, a lot of the blockage in his mind is still there. And while he acknowledges it, he doesn't think it's a problem in this moment. That's when Gigas shows up and goes like, "Hey man, offer's still on the table. I can teach you how to use your black fire and get you kickstarted on whatever you want to do." And Spanner's like, "No, fuck you." So they start fighting. The fight breaks out of the environment they're in, and Spanner and Laxus are just no match for him. So they run. And in the process, Laxus gets hurt, and Spanner is tending to her wound, and they have a nice heart-to-heart, a brief moment, when Clotho comes in and goes like, "Hey, Atropos passed away. She's not here anymore." And it's just like this strange moment of grief between two estranged sisters in a world that is cruel, that has been cruel to them. And as Gigas comes in to try and, again, fuck with Spanner, fuck with Latchus, Clotho's like, "Fuck you. uses the dread driver, yo, it's back, fights him for a little bit, only to hold him off just enough for Spanner to get a wind in, transform into Valvarad, not to Kamen Rider Valvarad, just regular Valvarad. That's what he's been using this whole time, because he doesn't have his belt. And he gets kind of locked in. Gigas uses his Black Flame, locks him into like a little realm of psychological stuff. I don't think this is what Gigas intended. I think he was just trying to like trap Spanner in. But Spanner, because he has a connection to it, is in this little world, and he finally understands what Hotaro's been going on about this entire time. Of people care about you. Doesn't matter what you've done, doesn't matter who you have been, people care about you. And he goes like, I had the dark flame that killed my parents, and I inherently thought of it as evil. I inherently thought of it as something wrong, that I was wrong, that it inherently made me lesser, that I am not worth love, that I am not worth being cared about. And that's why he pushed everyone away. That's why he pushes Hotaro and the alchemy crew away. That's why Kyoka had to be so belligerent with caring for him, and why he's been keeping Lachus at arm's length, but slowly understanding that like he does enjoy her company. And Hotaro's words in their big standoff duel resonate with him of, I want to fight for a world where everyone can be happy. That includes you. He realizes, I deserve to live. I deserve to fight against this evil and come out on top. And with that, his black flames invert. They are now white, as he forges a new belt, much like how Hotaro and Rine forged their belts with the power of empathy and alchemy to become Kirogane Valvarad. Kirogane means something, and I don't know what, so in the comments tell me what that means. It's like shining silver or something like that. But he is decked out pure silver, clean, engine-like, meticulous. Every movement you hear gears whirring. He is mechanical, incarnate. He is badass. He has 2 fucking chainsaw swords. They're not chain. It's his like wrench sword that he's been using, but like there's a chainsaw bit in there. Let me have that. And he just fucking destroys Gigas. Ultimately and completely. And as the final bit of the Philosopher's Stone escapes Gigas, the little evil dragon that Greyon made at the beginning of the episode pops in and grabs it. Everyone's trying to grab the dragon so the stone doesn't get into Greyon's hands. And Lachus, naive and innocent as she is, as a brand new human, grabs it and says, I got it. She's happy. She's able to help. She's able to help the crew. And that's when an energy strikes Lachus through the chest. She falls to the ground as the Philosopher's Stone gets in the Greyon's hands, and Greyon's up. He mocks them. He gloats. He's like, yeah, my plan's complete. Sweet. Bye. Spanner is about to go after him when Lachus calls out to him as she's dying on the ground. And he goes to her, because at that moment he realizes empathy and caring about other people and love is more important than the strict job that he has been following for years. She relates to him what she wanted to do after all this was done, after she was fully human, and that was to fall in love, as we see a fantasy she had going on a date with Spanner. She passes away, but she does not dissolve like Atropos. In that moment, she is finally human, as Spanner walks into the distance with her body. empathy can do wonders. It can bring a man who has held himself in such low regard for years that he was nothing, that he was worse than nothing, that a very part of him was inherently evil, and that it does not deserve to live, thus he does not deserve to live. It can bring him to understand how people can care about him, and how he needs to live in part for them, but also himself. That he is not the evil that he sees himself to be. He is not the monster that he saw himself to be. It can take a woman who has been abused and manipulated by evil people, by the world itself, and by the expectations placed upon her, and give her a chance to define herself for the first time. And the want to connect to others. But as we saw with that crowd, empathy can also be thrown away completely. With fear and anger, so long as there's people to stoke that with pure negativity. This was a great episode. I absolutely adore Spanner's new suit. It looks great. It looks slick. I love it. Love how it feels like one part hot rod, one part katana, one part gun. It's just pure slick machine. It's really good. His arc also resonated a little bit for me. Negative self-talk is a thing I saying you suffer with it is pish posh, but like it is a thing I regularly do. Like I have if you've talked to me in private conversations, I have gone on about like, why does anybody care what I say? I'm just some fucking idiot. And it's just little bits like that like resonated, like, no, people do care about me. People do care about Spanner. And it's like yeah. You get what I'm saying. Also, Major Big Super Fuck Grayon. Fuck him. Watchus did not deserve that. It was like, it is pure tragedy. It's just sad. It's just the cruel cherry on top of his entire stake of villainy this last little bit. And it looks like we're gearing up for a pretty damn good finale. In the meantime, hey, do you want to follow me here on this YouTube platform? Please like, comment, and subscribe so you can see videos in the future. You can see the finale of Kamen Rider Gatchard. You can see compilations of Kamen Rider Agito reviews, and eventually all these reviews into one big giant video, as well as other projects upcoming in the future. And if you like these reviews and you want to see more of them, you can go support me for as little as $1 a month on Patreon. You can get exclusive Kamen Rider 5's reviews, and you don't even have to support me with money to get these. I will be reviewing Kamen Rider gavv over there every single week. Huzzah, hazoo, huzzay. And finally, in the meantime, we have some comments to discuss. First up, from Fish Pop. Yeah, the Majesty drivers being on Premium Bandai, like, the writers knew that it would happen. No idea why the first one was on Premium Bandai. I heard one theory that is like, oh, they did it so it was harder to, like, get the wind thing. And it's just like, nah. But the Majesty is like, that's understandable, that's reasonable, because it is such late, and, like, they planned it. And yeah, no, we didn't get an exact specific reason why his black flames turned silver, but I do think it was some kind of like purifying element. It was him breaking down that final barrier of toxicness, you know? Cause like the first big barrier of toxicness was grief and not like connecting to people. He always held everybody off to the side. And this second barrier of Spanner Self was very much, before it was like, I'm not gonna connect to people, This one's very much, I'm a piece of shit, I don't deserve to live. And it's just like, no, I deserve to live. You know, that kind of thing. So it is kind of purifying, in a way. Next up, from Just Some Random Guy. Yeah, Rayon is like peak rat bastard with using our hero's empathy against them. It's just, it's really good. Like, I even think that he made the audience believe for like half a second that he actually cared. Which, you know, hey, great on the actor for being able to pull that off. You know, that twist of intent. And I can understand why some people might not like the visor on Twilight Majade. I like it, partially because it kind of fits the eye thing all three of them have. You know, Hotaro has the big giant arrow thing, and now Valvarad has the scouter from like Dragon Ball Z. Like, it's a nice matchup. It works like as a unifying motif. And in part, just for me, they remind me of Kamina glasses from Gurren Lagann, and hey, that's always a good thing. Next up, from Mr. Dengekyo. Mr. Dengekyo. Yeah, they really played their cards well with going like, oh no, Grayon actually cares. Because the whole theme is about empathy. And you're in like, seeing the villain care for a second, it's just like, oh, are they trying to show like some underlying humanity within him? And it's just like, no, he's just manipulating just as much as always, and it just makes him all the more hateable, and it makes him like a great counter to our heroes, you know? That like, they're willing to give that like good faith trust, and he's willing to manipulate it and abuse it. That's just fantastic villainy. And finally, from Esconde. Yeah, again, the Majade power-up coming in so late. Majade and Valvarad's power-up coming in so late. Understandable. They don't want to overexpose them and make them look weak. That's understandable. Maybe hint at them just a little bit more. That's my biggest, like, note. You know? It's hard as, like, a major outsider, I think, to these artistic projects, you know, to like come to an understanding of like, hey, these are critiques as like one artist to another artist, that this is like a thought, and it's not necessarily saying like you are doing wrong. It's just more of like, hey, this could have been a different way of doing it. You know, that's always kind of like the tightrope you gotta pull. But yeah, Grayon, perfect bad guy for the season. Just big old manipulator. And yeah, Galil? I'll just say Galil, and if I'm wrong, you can correct me. Galil, like, possibly being like the first Malgams? That could be odd, you know, because like from the big Alchemy King thing and first Malgams, that could be an interesting way to do it. Either way, fascinating how like they might have been humans and rejected their humanity, kind of like Dio and shit. It's neat. And yeah, Gigas, hey, look, bud, we appreciate the gumption of you trying to hold on to power as much as you can, but Spanner needed a double. Spanner needed the double. Yeah. But on that note, thank you for watching this video. Thank you for watching all of these reviews of Kamen Rider Gatchard that I have made. I genuinely appreciate every single one of you who has tuned in, whether you've tuned in every single week to hear my thoughts, whether you tuned in periodically to share yours, or whether you have not yet watched Gatchard and you're watching this in the future with me as like, what, side commentary? If you're doing that, hey, fuck yeah, that's cool. But thank you. Thank you. I hope you have a good day. I hope you have a good week. And I'll see you next time for the finale of Kamen Rider Gatchard. I'd like to give a big thank you to all my Patreon supporters. Esconde,